people? Welcome back again to MG Sports TV. So there is a report. It's basically a international front report from KAHEIM DIXON in the game that they played against Trinidad. The one that they won 3-1. Imagine one that they win 1-0. So interesting report. Very interesting report. The report was done by Scout Talent. Really interesting, I have to say. So I'm just gonna read out the report to you guys so you guys can hear what they had to say. So Arnett Garden, KAHEIM DIXON, winger / striker. KAHEIM DIXON played 85 minutes as a winger and as a striker at the Jamaica International friendly against Trinidad and Tobago. He scored Jamaica's only goal in the 1-0 win. Now, first of all, let me pick up. I identify. I read the scouting report before because I read the phone again. And there are a few things I identify that they pick up and I say, yeah, this is true. These are areas I think I can work on. But also, there's one specific thing that they did not necessarily contextualize and go in details with. And it's very strange because this particular aspect, it was actually the most important part of the game. And they didn't necessarily do that. So let me just read into the scouting report. So sometimes, so no miss out question the scouting report. But I think overall it was a good report, but I just believe that that aspect of it that they left out, they should have gone a lot more details. Dix did not have a huge amount of the ball in his game, but almost every time he was in possession, he showed a lot of promise. Dix is really fast and strong. Is really a fast and strong dribbler. So when isolated against defenders with space in behind, he was money. Now, it must be said that both teams were largely composed of players who played their football domestically, so the quality of defenders he was facing was not that high. But Dixon's feints and quick changes of directions were leaving defenders in wake in an almost comical fashion. He also has a lot of pivot strength, which allows him to hold off opponents despite his slight frame. Dixon's off-the-ball movement was also quite strong. He's good at hitting the space between a centre-back and a full-back with his run, and his space in behind makes him hard to catch. When he moved into the more central position later in the game, his movement was not quite as impressive. He did have a couple of moments where he dropped off a defender and received a pass around 10 to 15 yards out, but he didn't demonstrate the type of movement that gets a striker those 6-yard close top ins. Now, I understand that he said the first part of it is movements in spaces in behind when he does get the ball, and he glorifying those moments. I really do understand, and those are good, very good points to identify. But also, when you move into the central areas, I have to say that it's not necessarily strong suits. I think he's more of an attacking / winger than per se a centre striker. But he's definitely a killer in the box. But he's not the type of player who's going to rush into the box. More than likely, he's the type of player who's going to pass the ball into the box. He's that type of player. Nevertheless, Dixon's biggest drawback offensively, aside from not really being a play driver, is decision making. There's a couple of moments where he beat a fullback but was not able to pick the right pass, leading to the move fizzling out. There was one moment where he strayed offside due to some poor awareness. There were also a couple of instances of poor shot selection, but he's only 19, and these are the sort of things that can be ironed out with good coaching and more experience. Dixon has made a few appearances in Jamaica Premier League for Arnett Garden after starring in Jamaica's schoolboy football system. However, he has been very public about his desire to move abroad, specifically saying he wants to follow in the footsteps of Dujan Richards, who signed for Chelsea last year. Based on this performance, I don't think I'd be confident in recommending him to team of that level. But a step up in CONCACAF to MLS Next Pro or Liga MX reserve team would be a good step in the long run. In the long run, I think he could be an excellent player in the MLS, Liga MX, or an equivalent level across the world. Now, this is actually saying that, all right, we see the talent. We basically see the talent. We see what he can do. But there are areas that you can definitely work on. Now, one of the big key factors here is 19 years old. That's one of the biggest. He was actually one of the youngest players on the pitch in those two games. And after that, the big aspect that I said I want to highlight was the aspect of the goal that he scored. They did mention that he's the goal scorer, but they did not necessarily go into how the goal was scored and that details, because they have highlighted plenty of details surrounding his gameplay and those stuff. But exactly, for example, he said offensively when he went in the striker mode, they go into the details of him fluffing shots, poor awareness in the final third. So if you're going to go into that details, you must have gone into the details also of how he come about scoring that particular goal, because that is one of the most important contribution that he would have made to the game. You could highlight the aspect of him beating a man, turning a man 1v1 and those type of things. But I think it's very, very important that the more crucial part of the game and his most crucial contribution could have been highlighted a bit more. Now, with the reference to going to MLS or Liga MX, in my view, I understand that we're in the CONCACAF region and those are the two highest level in the CONCACAF region. In my view, I don't think so. I don't think the MLS or Liga MX. MLS next year is a good move, but if you really look into the MLS and try to find how many players from the MLS move into Europe, just look into that. I know a lot of teams move into the lower tier of Europe, but once he go into the MLS next, say he goes to next pro at 19, for him to be, maybe if he's good enough, maybe by 2 years time he'll be playing in MLS. At 22, you really want him playing MLS at 22? Me personally, no. I would say maybe because his age and the age that he has a lot of connection within the lower tier of Europe, the Slovenia League and all of these leagues in the lower tier of Belgium. I would say make one of those particular moves and develop in Europe so you can get adapted to the European style of football as early as possible, rather than going to the US to the MLS or Liga MX and then now trying to go across to Europe and then trying to adapt to the European style of football. So I do think that that's where I would disagree, and also I would disagree the fact that they didn't highlight the goal that he scored and who he scored the goal. I think most person think he received the ball, a beautiful through pass from Romeo Guthrie, hit the channel. He was in the half space, running behind the defenders, end up in the box 1v1, kill his defender. As the scout report highlighted, that he's very good 1v1. Get rid of his defender out of the line, take the shot. Go to the back post, keeper got a touch on it, and the ball still trickled to the back post, which I think was really good. As it cuts inside, cut the defenders out of the way, cuts inside, and then hit the shot hard and low. Not really hard and low, but it placed it into the far post. So it was a very, very good goal, technically good goal. A really, really striker's instinct, and maybe some sense of a winger because it was coming off the line. But nonetheless, MLS, in my view, no. MLS next, no. Liga MX, not that bad, but I would still say no. I would rather the lower tier of Europe, where you can adapt to the European style of football, where you can actually see a better transition. Somewhat what we saw with Shaman Nicholson, KAHEIM Paris and all these players would have gone to the lower tier of Europe. Right now, like Tyreek Zimini is now in the lower tier of Europe. So I think that's a better move to make, where its development is concerned. And I think we might see something better from him in that aspect. So anyways, big up on yourself, people. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell us what you think in the comment section. Would really appreciate it if you guys do so. Until next time, MG Sports TV. Well, guys, see you out again. Boom. God bless.